It has taken us a while, but we've both finally read A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas, and yeah.
I had a really hard time getting into this, like at the very beginning. I couldn't do it, and I don't know why. I don't know if I was in like the wrong mind state. I don't know if there were like other things I was too focused on, but I mean, once I got past like the 100-page mark, I was in.
Like, I think I read like 60% of it, and it's like a 600-page book. I think I read it in like a day, and I couldn't leave the house without it like being in the back of my mind, like, I need to read this book, I need to read this book. I need to go home and read this book. Why are you axe throwing?
Oh yeah, that was when we went axe throwing.
Yeah.
Picture of us axe throwing. Okay, so I'm just gonna throw spoilers from this point further.
Yes.
We could try, but we're not gonna do good.
And we'll make ourselves miserable.
And we're gonna just... Okay, so the big deal about this book, and what I really, really, really liked about it, is the first book in this series kind of sets up your usual fairy tale romance. Like, it's riffing on Hades and Persephone. It's riffing on Beauty and the Beast. It's doing all these glorious things. And Fair is with Tamlin, and you know, they're gonna get married, they're gonna have this big fairy tale wedding. But she ain't happy.
Tamlin is being a selfish prick. In the events of the last book where they were like, I'm fighting for our love and romance and, you know, we can do this and we're great together, you know, they went through some shit. Like, Feyre went through, I call her Feyre, and I'm not going to stop, I know it's Feyre, but these are the things that I do. Feyre is going through these wicked challenges where, you know, she's fighting for her life. She's having to kill people in cold blood just to stay ahead of Amaranthe. Rhys is controlling her, so she thinks she had to like make a bargain with him where she's gonna spend a week every month with him. Her memory is being blacked out, so she doesn't remember some of the awful things that she had to go through. Like, she comes out of it a justifiable wreck. And Tamlin had to kind of watch her go through all this stuff, and he didn't try and help her. He couldn't try and help her without causing more problems for her. So that fucked him up too, because now he has this weird protector complex where he will not like let Feyre leave the house. He will not let her learn how to fight or acknowledge that she has magical powers. She's trapped, and feeling trapped is just like sending her into this downward spiral of legit depression.
And like, what I loved the most is the way it's set up is at first she almost forces you to agree with Tamlin. You see why he's doing what he's doing, and he's just like, no, once this is over, once this is done, it'll be fine, and like everything will be fine. We just need to get through this. We just have to do this. And so like when I started, I'm like, okay, I know you're in a really bad headspace, but I don't really understand why. And that's when I took a step back and I'm like, it's because I'm the problem. I am the problem because I have read so many books and I have been programmed to think that because you two did X together, you're gonna be together forever. Like, you know, you've gone through the horrible challenges. So you're like, your love has conquered all. Well, just because you love someone does not mean you should stay with them.
Yeah, you have to really do like this mental exercise to get yourself out of the headspace where, you know, Tamlin is an okay person. And by the end of the point where their relationship just like explodes, you're just watching this and you're like, oh my god, this is a train wreck.
Yeah.
Like an absolute train wreck. And it's mental gymnastics just to get yourself out of that headspace and really start rooting for Feyre to get where she needs to be and drop this guy.
Basically, during the wedding, she just starts mentally screaming about, you know, I need to get out, so someone needs to get me out. Oh my god, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. And what happens?
Rhys hears her and spirits her away from her own wedding. And he just like drops her off in his castle and is like, listen, you need your own space. I'm not bringing you back there. I refuse. Like, if you really want to go, I think I'll bring you back. But like, just stay.
Yeah.
Just stay here. I will leave. Be okay, please. And, you know, so Feyre, like, she starts spending time by herself for a little bit. She doesn't trust Rhys. Like, she still thinks he's like an evil bastard. Oh my god, and it takes her a while to get over that too. Fine, it's great, it's enjoyable, I love just their
And
whole...
I mean, another big deal is that because she's never really had a friend either. She's just had her sisters, and her relationship with her family is also really screwed up, as was explored in the first book. And so when she goes to the Night Court, she meets his inner circle, and like she meets Moore, who I just adored, because she's just very just like, no, I had a really, really shitty time in the Court of Nightmares, and you know what, it's awful, but it's behind me and I'm strong now, and like eventually, you know, it's something you're going to struggle with for the rest of your life, but eventually you will be able to deal with it in your own time. And there is just like, I can actually be friends with her. She had been hanging out with this high priestess who was a friend of Tamlin's, and the high priestess is basically organizing her life.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're gonna wear this, and you're gonna do this, and you're gonna go here, and you're gonna do this, and you're gonna do this.
She's using her as a power play puppet.
And so, like, with Moore, it's just like, no, we can, like, go out, we can stay in, we can have dinner, we can, like, stay all night chatting. Like, she finally starts to feel a normal connection with another person, which is really important.
Super important. And everybody else he hangs out with is great. There's Cassiel and Amren and Azriel, and they're great too. They've all got their own relationship dynamics going on. Amren is
she's like a Lovecraftian horror.
She really is, and
like,
it's amazing.
In this little itty little bitty body, and like Rhys is just like at certain points he's like, yeah, you know, if it goes to shit, I'm just gonna find a way to release her and like hope it's not gonna be too awful.
Hope it doesn't get that bad, guys.
Everyone feels very like fully developed as people. Sarah J. Maas put a lot of effort into making like the Night Court complicated and developed with like years and years and years of history. So you start to see the inner working of his mind and why he's done what he's done and why he presents himself as this like awful, dark
lord.
Yeah.
And it's super interesting the way his court has been divided, because you have the Court of Nightmares, which is under the mountain, and it's where, you know, Fairy went through her challenges and what Amarantha had designed her court like, and it's just like this hideous place of like
awful things,
death
and like
and sexuality, and not like good sexuality, like rape and
just violence.
Yeah.
It's just violence in every way, shape, and form.
And so everybody there has to believe that Rhys is just this absolute monster that is worse than anything they could ever dream up for themselves.
Because it's the only way he's going to keep them in check.
And so by keeping them in check and keeping them, like, happy under this mountain, he can have his own, like, what do they call it? Court of Dreams. Yeah. Court of Dreams, which is, like, the secret city that no one outside the city knows about, where, you know, it's peaceful and quiet, and there's art and, you know, beauty and just simplicity.
You want to go there.
Yeah.
You're like, I want to go here, and I want to live here, and I want to be happy, and oh my god.
So he has this Court of Dreams, and so he's like, I'm willing to take on this Dark Lord persona if it means that I can keep this idyllic place safe.
Because he managed to keep this place safe during the horrific rule. They did not know this city existed. And I mean, they went through hard times in this city, but they didn't experience the true horror. So like, when she learns this, she's just like, oh my god.
And she's like, I've completely misjudged Rhys, like, completely. And so she ends up being like, yeah, fuck it, I'm done with Timlin. I cannot deal with his shit. Do not want to. Like, Rhys, I don't know what we've got between us. There's a shit ton of sexual tension. But, you know, I just want to be friends.
And he's just like, okay, I'll hire you as my ambassador to the human world. And so now we have to do all these different things because we think that the evil, like, fairy guy on the other side of the ocean is trying to get this cauldron working, so we need to get this book. And so there's that, you know, your fantasy quests go to all the different things that's happening, but that's not the focus. The focus of this book is her relationship with him and just, like, banging your head against the stupid wall. Because you're like, okay, come on. Just face it. And every time they're about to figure something out, somebody barges in. And it gets to the point, I'm like, okay, first 2 times, great, awesome. But when you're at the 5th time, you're just like, I am so done.
But that's what kept me reading so hard. I'm just like, I have to get to the point where they're finally together because I can't deal with this shit anymore. Every fucking time.
And I mean, in the first book, I liked the relationship, the very quiet relationship between Temlin and Farrer. I liked this one better, because this one you felt it more, you know? Like, it was real.
She totally did that on purpose, having it feel real.
I'm so done
It got
with
to the
you.
point where they were actually screwing around, and she like cock blocks herself by saying she just wants to screw around, and he's kind of like, oh, I guess if that's what you want, because he knows that they're mated.
Because, okay, so they go out to this camp of, like, these lower-born fae, and they're hiding out there before they can make their move to go out to the human world to prove to the humans that they are true to their word. And so they're there, and freaking they get attacked. First, it's Lucian, and Lucian's like, come back, and so she, like, glamours herself with these wings, and she's like, no, you would not, like, you wouldn't want me anymore, and, like, freaking Rhys is just like, oh my gosh, she's gonna fucking leave me. Like, you can, like, almost feel it. He's just like, if she goes on her own will, I can't chase her. I won't chase her. I'm better than that. I'm fucking better than this. I'm better than this, but if he grabs her, you know?
It's amazing. You're just like, I love you so much.
And so, like, he's like, you didn't leave me.
Holy shit! You actually like me?
You chose me? Yay. But then they're attacked again, and they're attacked by ash arrows, and that's very poisonous, and I think they're also coated in poison. And so she drags him into a cave, and he's like squirming around dying of poison. And so she goes out and she goes to find the Suriel again to like, how the fuck do I fix this? And the Suriel's just like, okay, well, if you want to save your mate. And she's like, wait, what? Excuse me?
Oh, he didn't tell you that, huh? Well,
Surprise.
Thinking about it? Don't think about it.
And so she heals him, and then she just like loses her shit on him. She's like, what the hell? You didn't tell me.
She's so pissed off. Like, well, granted, like, Tamlin's been holding information from her, and that pissed her off, so. But,
It's like the one thing you said you wouldn't do is like lie to me.
but like, I'm fine that she threw the tantrum because she got over it quickly, and if she had dragged it out, I would have killed her.
And it was great because Moore takes her to this little like cabin that's like a cottage. And so she finds all this stuff, like she finds paint. And so she starts painting again. And like throughout this book, they keep talking about how she hasn't been able to paint. And how like she starts looking at Rhys and she's like, okay, well if I were to paint him, I'd paint him like this. And she's like, well, I haven't really wanted to paint in a while. Because that's part of her that died with what happened under the mountain. And so she's in this cottage and she just starts painting all over. And you know, just like having nice baths and you know, just being quiet and like thinking about it. And finally, one day, there's a knock on the door and it's him and he's like, I fucking found you.
Can you please just talk to me? Anything?
And
Please?
she's like, I'll make you food. And he's like, wait, what?
He's like, cause you know, that's a thing where, you know, you're mated, like, it's like you're accepting the bond. And she's like, oh, okay, well, tell me about your life.
And so she's like, I can't cook. I will heat you soup.
I like soup.
And so he tells her his life story and it's really depressing. And she's just like, eat the soup. And I like it because he sits there and he stares at her and he eats the soup.
And then he's like, can we fuck now?
What?
It's ridiculous. I love it so much.
It's so ridiculous. And then of course, like once a mate bond is like instated, the guys get fucking weird. Like I had flashbacks to reading stupid Feverborn.
Yeah, I did
like,
too.
Because it's like, yeah, the males get territorial and like if someone looks at their mate wrong or like for too long, they will fight you.
And so Cassian just like takes one for the team and he's like, okay, Rhys, she's looking good today. Fight me.
Boom.
It's so good. I like the way she set up the mating bond. It's not forever love. It's like this weird, like magical bond.
And
literally.
just because you're bonded doesn't mean you love each other or that you're really actually good for one another. You might be good for one another for other reasons, like maybe continuing a family line, or maybe you both have specific traits that would work well together, or personalities that would like come together in like a child. But it doesn't mean you have to like one another.
Yeah. So the fact that they like each other is actually special. You mentioned to me about how you were laughing that Tamlin was like, Rhys killed my family.
You find out that in the first book, Tamlin and Rhys hate each other, like, you know, like awful hate. And you find out, Tamlin tells you that Rhys killed my family. And so Farrah's just like, oh, he's a fucking monster. Like, who kills, like, a family? Well, you find out that Tamlin and Tamlin's father killed Rhys's mother and sister.
He did it first.
He did it first. And then Rhys and his father went to go kill Tamlin's father. And Rhys is like, don't kill the women. Like, our beef is between Tamlin and Tamlin's father. And because Rhys's father was a bit of a monster, you know, really Court of Nightmares material, he killed the entire family. Tamlin realized what happened, and so Tamlin's like, I have to get my revenge.
Like, bitch, you started it.
Yeah, like, oh my god.
What did you expect? Let's be real.
And I mean, at first, Rhys is just like, I wanted to be friends with him, man. Like, we had similar ideas.
What are you gonna do?
So you really start to realize just how fucked up Tamlin actually is. Sarah talks about it, how Tamlin never wanted to be a High Lord, and
it was forced upon him,
more or less. And like, he's just doing the bare minimum. While Rhys, on the other hand, is like, he has like dreams and ambition, and so that he's more motivated. And that's more attractive.
And he's going to do better because he's actually motivated to do it.
And they meet another High Lord, I think it's the High Lord of the Summer Court, and like, he's like a sweetheart, and I loved him. And I'm heartbroken that like, they screwed him over because
they really didn't want to.
They didn't want to, but they had to.
I really wanted them to make up with that guy. He was
so sweet. And so the book ends, you find out that the queens of the human realm screwed over the Night Court, told the evil king about the Night Court's plans and where the City of Dreams was. And so the City of Dreams gets attacked, and so they rush their attack on the evil fairy, whose name I am forgetting.
You're sitting there and you're like, well, this is the stupidest plan I have ever heard.
And then you find out, Tamlin, he makes a deal with this evil fairy king, like, you can enter our realm through my lands if you break the bond between Fair and Rhys.
Because this whole book, he's been trying to get Fairy back, and Fairy back is just like, fuck you.
Don't want to come back.
Like, fuck you. How many times can I say, go screw yourself? Till you understand.
But in his mind, and as the rest of the world would see, and Rhys says this to her, is that I stole you. I swooped in and I took you from him. I am, in the grand narrative, the bad guy. So you have had this entire time with these characters and getting to know them when the rest of the world is just like, holy fuck, like,
you kidnapped her.
You kidnapped her.
She had no agency in this. What are you talking about? The other beautiful part is when, you know, in the beginning when she's talking to Tamlin, she's like, oh, what about the high ladies? And Tamlin's like, there are no high ladies. And then Rhys goes and he's like, oh yeah, there can be high ladies. It's just none of the men let the women in. So you want to be High Lady of the Night Court?
She realizes they're all trapped in this room and they have their sisters, and her sisters have been thrown into the cauldron and turned into fairies, which is the one part of the book that I'm just like, this is a little too perfect.
Yeah, I was fine with it.
I wanted one of them to die.
It could still.
Well, I wanted one of them to die at that point. I almost wanted it to be the younger one, like the nice one. Mm-hmm. Like, it could have worked both ways. The younger one could have died, and then the older one would have gone batshit. Or the older one could have died, and the younger one, who's always been the sweet one, would have gone batshit. But it's kind of implied that the older one is mated to Cassian, and the younger one is mated to Lucien.
That was a little too perfect.
Yeah, and so she realizes, realizes the only way that they can get out is if she does this big, grand, fake extravaganza. And so throughout the entire book, she's realizing she has powers of all the different lords, all the different high lords. And so she creates this blinding light, and she looks at Tamlin, and she's like, oh my god, Tamlin, oh my god, take me home, oh my god, what's happening, how did I get here, get me away from him. And like, all of the Night Court, I love them so much because they just roll with it.
They do not break character for a second. They're like, shit, our plan has been discovered.
She's like, mentally messages Rhys, and she's like, just roll with it. And he's just like, oh fuck my spell, it's broken.
I'm melting.
Sarah goes to the evil king, she's like, break the bond between us, break the bond between us. And she writes it in a way that you think that they broke the mate bond. And like, that like breaks your heart because you're like, no.
We just settled this. It was 600 pages of will they, won't they, can we?
And so Tamlin takes her back to the spring court, and freaking Lucien is just like, I don't fucking trust you, bitch.
And all I see in my head is, turn around, is her like walking with Tamlin like this, like, fucking try, Lucien. Tamlin, I love you.
And so you get to, you cut back to the Night Court, and freaking Rhys is like, okay, so, yeah, they broke the bond, like the deal bond that we made, but like, not the mate bond. Like, you can't fucking break the mate bond. So, like, she's our spy. And Moore is just like, you're telling me that my high lady is in the fucking spring court and you're not going to get her.
She's in deep fucking cover. What? I love it. Because her little sister is maid bonded with Lucien and her little sister is not under Tamlin's control, Avery's got like control of the connection, so she's got control of Lucien. But like Tamlin the fucking tool, which the internet has dubbed him, has just no clue.
I love how this series started out as, like, you know, your traditional, like, slight twist on myths. I mean, I loved how the first book wasn't Stockholm-y at all. But I love how it just, like, went off in the most random direction. I love that we just, like, broke the mold.
So addicting. It's so good. The only problem I had was I found the ending a bit confusing. Like, I got what she was doing, but the way it was described, I was like, oh, there's a flash of light and they're seeing an illusion, but there's not an illusion, and I was like, that felt a little mushy to me. Then you're like, okay, this is the outcome of whatever the hell was going on over there.
Yeah, I agree that, like, that, like, paragraph or so wasn't clear,
like
but
a couple of pages.
It was definitely a step up from the first book, because, like, the last 30 pages of the first book could have easily been 150. Because she just rushed through that.
Yeah, she really did. So Rhys and Fairy, oh my god. And now you've got this lady in deep cover just ready to fuck shit up, and I am so excited.
But reading the scenes with her and Tamlin next book are gonna be the worst.
Really? I think she's gonna like dance circles around him. And
Oh
you're gonna
my
be
god, no,
laughing
it's gonna
at him.
drive me nuts though, because, like, oh my god, I just keep thinking of, like, the High Sparrow and Marjorie just being like, so you're not doing your wifely duty, eh?
Oh my god.
Like, that's what I keep thinking.
But this series, man, I'm enjoying the crap out of it, and I will kill you for the next one.
So yeah, that's kind of like our discussion of A Court in Mist and Fury.
Yeah.
Did you like it? Did you not like it? Tell us about it in the comments below. We haven't read Throne of Glass yet.
I read the first one and it did not call to me, but it is my plan to read the rest of them very soon. So, is it the same? Like, is it like, when I'm asking the internet, is it as good? Let us know in the comments, and we will talk to you later, guys.